Good morning everyone, I hope you are very good this morning. I'm Veronique and I'm back with a new video on Scope International. So this morning I'm going to speak about the impact that immigration has over the world. So it is predicted that immigration rate will continue to increase over time. In about 2012, the Gallup designed a survey question that determined that there is around 640 million adults that want to migrate to change. So in 2002, the United Nations reported that there were nearly 191 million international immigrants worldwide that allowed 3% of the world population. In 2006, Europe, the United States in 2006, Europe, Asia were found that host the labor number of immigrants have 76 million of 46 million and 25 million. Regional factors contribute to immigrants selecting a specific host country. The prospect for employment, wages rate, standard of living, and immigration law all contribute to immigrant decisions or where to relocate it. In 2005, the United Nations reported that there were nearly 191 million of international immigrants worldwide, which accounted for about 3% of the world population. This represents an increase in the number of immigrants by about 26 million since 1999. It is estimated that 60% of immigrants move to develop their country. Country immigrant population 2005. In 2006, the International Organization for Migration estimated the number of immigrants to be more than 200 million globally. Europe, the United States, Asia were found to host the larger number of immigrants at 70 million, 45 million, and 25 million. However, the predictions demonstrate that through the survey in 2012 that by Gallup that nearly 6 million adults would be immigrated. In addition, if there are the chance, about 1/4 of the survey, 23% of 105 million adults state that they will choose to immigrate to the US. 77%, 45 million adults state that they would choose to immigrate to the UK. And top country lists in this survey include Canada, France, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Germany, and Spain. Net immigrations rate. This paragraph shows the worldwide net immigrations. So regional factor for immigrations. Regional factor contribute to immigrant selections of specific host country. The prospect for employment, wages, rate, standard of living, and immigrations. Law all contribute to relocate decision. Example of migrations pattern in certain countries help and influence immigration number worldwide. Europe. Immigrants help to rebuild and repopulate Europe after World War I. In 2005, Europe experienced a net gain of 1.8 million people from migration. This accounted for almost 85% of Europe's total population growth that year. In 2010, according to Eurostat, there are 47.3 million immigrants living through Europe, which is accounted for 9.4% of the total population. Germany, France, UK, Spain, Italy, Netherlands experienced a higher immigration rate. Japan had strict immigration policy, but in the early 1990 issues such as a low birth rate and an ongoing work phase caused the country to reevaluate its law. It is estimated that the number of foreign residents living in Japan in 2008 was more than 2.2 million. The largest group of immigrants were from Korea, China, Brazil, Mexico. Those experienced larger number of immigrants crossing over the Guatemala borders, but many of these individuals enter illegal and get to be there were an estimation of 2,000 undocumented immigrants in Mexico. It's also the leading country where the immigrants moving to US. The highest immigrants law have made immigrants to the US from Mexico. Immigrants enter and live in the US illegally in the United States. Factors that influence immigrations to US, including family reactivations, humanitarian needs. When President Bill Clinton was in office, the U.S. Commissions on Immigration reformed to about 550,000 people a year. Immigration has remained a heavily debated issue since then. U.S. borders have highly in recent years to help control illegal immigrations. It was documented in 2010 that 1 million immigrants obtained legal permanent residence stay for the years. Benefit of immigrations. There are many benefits associated with immigrations, just to lead in their home country in order to improve the quality of life and reason for immigrate, including seeking higher accuracy rates, better employment opportunity, and higher stability and education opportunity. These immigrants leave their home country to escape from poverty, religious persecutions, political repressions, and war. Success in the country is not guaranteed and often require high work and sacrifice by many immigrants are willing to take the risk for the possibility of better future life and labor. I also said the challenge of the immigration is one of the initial challenge faced by immigrants in the course of immigrating. Many immigrants are seeking better economic conditions in the new country, so the cost of moving can be suitable for them. It is not uncommon for immigrants to lower their around potential at the substantial less to be able to afford to move. Also, during immigrations, many individuals are without work and must find work once they set sail. The majority of challenges associated with immigration deal with assimilate into the host country. Many immigrants take low wages jobs until they can adjust to society, gain housing, and obtain educations. Immigrants must learn a new way of life and become familiar with the language and the law of the host country. While many immigrants leave their home country to escape persecutions, it is possible that they could be face discriminations, even racism in the host country. The process of immigration is not easy, but for many individuals staying in their home country does not provide them with the promised future. Most important are willing to take risks and work hard to build a solid future, even though the process can be challenged. The impact also the country, the home country also faces specific challenge in regard to immigrations, and also the challenge of immigrations. One of the initial challenges faced by immigrants is the cost of immigrations. Many immigration are seeking better economic conditions in new country. So the cost of moving can be switched on the form, and also the found out that impact on the home country in many 68 billion of immigrants move to another country to provide position change for their future. Reasons to immigrate can include the standard of living not being high enough, the value of wages but they're too low, a slow gets, and also the lack of education and opportunity. A home country must analyze immigration statistics to determine and address why citizens are moving to other countries. In the large amount of nations with weakening the home country by decrease the populations, the level of projections and economic spending. If a country is low citizens due to the economic reason, the situation will not impose into economic change are made. At the time, citizens of the country may leave because of non-economic reasons such as religious persecutions, war, harassments, and economic that the citizens must that return to the country at some point was the threat large pose. While citizens living in other country for their individual success can also be benefit to the home country. If they use their acquire skill to make any difference, many individuals do not forget their home country and continue to support family members financially through the income from the country that are impacting the migrations. In conclusion, this part really describes why many people actually made themselves traveling the migrations impact based on the economic and based on the macro and microeconomic of nations. Individual are different reasons, but when you move to another country, you have to adapt to the law of the country so that you can be able to live in understanding the run of the country. In this case, for example, as an example, as a French citizen living in the UK, as a student, I has to follow the law of UK. Even as a student, I have to follow the law, and when I work, I have to pay my tax. Even after pay the tax, I also have to pay so many things in the UK and also follow the law of the UK because it's different. And also, when you are back to France, the example of my current situation is in France when I live in the UK. For example, like medical record, work history, education history, certification validity, health conditions, access conditions, everything is just been equal. When we talk in terms of European country, the 28 in European country actually has like a similarity of law, but in this case, when we make the comparisons between UK and France, and it has a difference between that it may require some information to be informed into France. As I say earlier to my testimony, for example, for my medical recording, I have to make sure that it's recording to Amelie system, so they have recording that have the health situations in the UK, so that they record to the systems, and also the plan to go to Spain regarding the current situations, the COVID-19 situations make restrictions in terms of follow the law of France in order to enter Spain, because Spain, even if it's an EU citizen, EU country, part of the EU citizen, it also have their own law. For example, have a residence for EU living in Spain, even if when an EU citizen in Spain, you need a EU residence work in Spain. So it's really deeper, even if it's for a temporary situations, even if it's a permanent situation, it's really important to acknowledge these informations. For example, if I'm going back to UK right now, I have my citizens pre-settled status will make me living in the UK because I have this. It make me live in that now. Now I know from the news that from EU citizen from French can go and be there for 6 months. They don't need to have a visa to live in the UK. But when if you stay there for 6 months and 6 months, you must have a visa for work conditions, for housing, for schools, for everything that you desire. You must know, understand the host of the country. So I explaining from my testimony the different reason of UK, France, and also I'm a Cameroonese, African, study in France, then went to UK to study English, and then made my bachelor there, and then do master, come back to France, health situation, all these things, and I must follow the restrictions of the country. In this case, regarding my history of work, the language is so important for an immigrant. When you host a town, a country, the language is very important because it helps you to communicate. As we know today, the language that's very universal is English. We even start with China, Mandarin, and even Spanish is also a language that is in demand in the market for business. So it's not something to neglect. That's why I decide to have like a temporary moment in Spain to learn the language, to have a little job, UCBA at the same time the student, and also at the same time seeking a job at the same situation. It's helpful for open wide opportunity in the future. Also, I will always that, for example, as a French citizen in France, I do not have any help from Goofy France because I'm not actively works. So even if I have been working in the UK, the prelims and the tax I pay in the UK will just help me regarding have my SIM in France for having medical for free, and all the factors such as informing through the tax governance of my history work in the UK from 2018. So it's actually make me um follow the law of France and recording and record my information in France, record according to my history of work, according to my history of study, according to my health situation, family, import tax in France, and so on. Now, history work, for example, I have to follow some other culture way in France that's been host to it, even if I have experience in the UK. So, as we are in the EU citizen, we believe that we have the same law, but I believe each country has their own law that each citizen must follow to live. So that's the main reason why so many immigrants, when they see other country, they can see the potential in the country and say, "This is where I have to land to prosper." But when you reach the land, even as a French citizen, a nationality citizen, I've been struggling so hard to get so many informations and even to do many administrative stuff and even for the valuable of my certification. I've been fighting for it. And it is not a joke. Like, for those who wanted to leave the country, to live in another country, must have acknowledged of the potential, the value that they have, how they can carry what they have and bring to that country, and understand the economic, macroeconomic of the country before to put the feet there. So that's really important. Even if I'm going for temporary times in Spain for work, for learn the language, and at the same time seeking my doing my masters in the UK. So a lot. I already understand UK perspective of law. I've been living there, and it's not an easy to enter a country as a French citizen, learn the language, adapt to the economy. I remember when I reached UK, I have to remember to learn English, I had to find a college. And when I found a college, I have to find a work. I became a job seeker allowance, so I get the law. I get the every week some amount of money because I was seeking for money. And then when I work, I have to find a house, pay the housing benefit, that paid home, go to school, come back home, pay tax, pay everything, and at the same time learn the language. Then go to study at the university, take the train to come back, but also you have the living thinking of the tax that you paid. There's also when you get sick to UK, you have to pay sick, that what they pay you, the amount of money you will work for it. There's a lot of things going on in the UK. As a French citizen in the UK, by the time that UK was in the EU, it was not easy either. Even we have benefit that is put into the place. As UK left EU, is going to be very even harder than it used to be. So I believe that from the even with the preceptor statute, I believe that the entrance is much more easier. But I know that the advantage that I have from UK is by having the certification and also been working in that land, that make my life much more easier to live in there. Now be in France, it's different because now even if I have the experience in the past before land in 2017 in the UK, it's requiring me to adapt to understand everything I do in France in the UK must be reported in France because I'm French, so that's the main reason. But if I decide to go in Spain, Spain also is a different. We have to inform also. I have to inform France. Now, if I'm going to UK, obviously that's why the medical record is so important. When you reach there, they need to understand what you have. So in this case, really important for each international anyone who wanted to travel to really understand where you are going, understand the country, have a vision and propose where you are going, even if your country doesn't provide everything that has to meet your opportunity, your goal. Either you have that, you must have like a portfolio of your own that can link to what the market of the country you land through go into it. But you also need to, as I've been discussed about the market research, really have the understanding of the market research of the country before you land, so you understand the macroeconomic of the land so that you cannot be surprised. For example, for those who are reach a country doesn't speak a language and you learn the language, it's a very powerful weapon because you actually learn a language which is not yours, and this is a very key point, and this is must be rewarded through it. And I would encourage for those who want to travel, young people, senior, adult, if you want to travel, go for it. But before, understand the language, why you are going there, the reason why you're going there. Are you ready to stand in that position in there? Are you going to be ready to learn the language, and are you going to reach the land and understanding the law of the country, of the land where you put your feet, and make sure that everything that you already carry to yourself can be useful to the country where you land to it. So I thank you very much. Thank you for this time. I conclude about what is immigrations can have. And I thank you very much for your listening, and I'll see you later for the next video. Have a good day.